Hey there, it's Sony. This is a tarot card love reading to explore the story of your heart. I'm going to be using a pick a card setup for this because it seems that themes involving romance tend to repeat, and I will also be doing another love reading that is for each of the specific zodiac signs, so this just sets the stage for that. And I'll also go ahead and pin in the comments the link to those videos once they're up. You might be hearing in the background some noise. That's my husband behind me. He's doing some tiling work in the bathroom. So hopefully that my voice will carry over whatever electronic device is buzzing out there. So I'm going to be using the Southern Gothic Oracle deck and the Haunt expansion. Basically, I find that these cards are good for going into the history of the images on the card, and it can get into some deep layers. I'll also be pulling the tarot cards to get into details of your heart story, in terms of what your heart hoped when it opened, what experiences shaped your heart, how your heart felt about those experiences, what decisions your heart made as a result, and what is currently guiding your heart. I will say that you can select the story of your heart based on the corresponding stone or crystal that draws you in. Or you can also just listen to the story associated with each of the cards and make a decision then. If you think that your heart has multiple stories. I know mine does. I didn't get married till I was 42 years old, so I'll go ahead and put a timestamp for the specific stone and associated card so that you can kind of see what calls to you. So I'm just going to do this real quick. Just get the energy of the stone there. Okay, so we have here Chrysoprase. It is a stone that promotes love, forgiveness of self and others, healing of old wounds and inner child. And the card you get with it is the Copperhead, deception, bad influences. Here we have Angelite. It is a stone that helps promote honest self-expression and attracts angels. You have here with it the Mockingbird, prophecies, communication. With the Sandstone here, it activates leadership and forward movement. And with that, you have Wild Violet, self-actualization, individuality. With Peacock Ore here, it's a stone for happiness, joy, and gratitude that sets an abundance mindset, actually. With that, you have Conch Shell, homecoming, afterlife. And here you have Selenite. This crystal is clears energy and also brings wisdom of higher self more into the mental plane. And with that, you have crimes of passion, jealousy, dangerous urges. So like I said, I'll go ahead and put a time stamp for each of the readings associated with the card. But for now, I'll move these out of the way and start with Chrysoprase and the Copperhead deception, bad influences. So I'm going to go ahead and actually read from the guidebook because I want to get into the deep history of it and the layers of it if it has it for the card. So deception, bad influences. In Appalachia, there is a sect of Pentecostalism called the Church of God with Signs Following, also known as snake handlers. This is a very real phenomenon in which preachers bring poisonous serpents, often captured in the woods near their churches, into the sanctuary to pick them up, handle them roughly, and dare the snakes to bite them. This is a very performative way of publicly testing or proving their faith in God. Perhaps the Copperhead represents someone in your life who is a bad influence and whose input should be avoided as though it were poisonous. Otherwise, it could be your own deep insecurities, plaguing your mind with toxic thoughts, making you second guess your own intuition, and leading you into poor decisions. If you are experiencing fear or anxiety, now is the time to face your fear head on. Summon your power to recognize and avoid bad influences. Beware of your dark side. The pursuit of unhealthy pleasures could lead to very bad outcomes for you. So that was a heavy card. Not all the cards in the deck are that heavy. So that's kind of food for thought in terms of whether, yes, you would know your heart better than I would in terms of whether it applies to your own toxic thoughts or others in your surroundings. But the Chrysoprase there, where it has a focus on forgiveness of self and others, and healing inner child even kind of covers that. So I'm going to go ahead and see what the tarot cards have to say. I'm going to go ahead and pull 5 cards here. The underside of the deck, which I use as the influencing energy or the lesson to be learned, is Queen of Cups. This does kind of have an energy of self-care and self-love. In terms of what your heart hoped for when it opened, you have this Knight of Cups. Let's see. The lighting is kind of off here. So with the Knight of Cups, it was hoping for an offer of true love. Kind of seems appropriate. In terms of the experience that shaped your heart after it opened, you have this Hanged Man. So it could be that there wasn't a lot of offers of love coming your way, and really time alone, isolation, kind of having to deal with the fact that everything you needed to kind of just determine about your heart and where it was going to lead you was just, internalized, and you had to figure out that on your own. In terms of how your heart felt about that experience or those experiences, you have the Ace of Swords. So it could indicate that your heart was kind of feeling defensive or really needing to protect itself in terms of wanting to have offers of true love and really not having those come to you. Perhaps you kind of created a barrier for that. In terms of the decisions that your heart made as a result of these experiences, you have the Six of Swords, which kind of indicates kind of moving on. Interestingly, there's this child in the boat kind of moving on and going between, you know, like a transition and trying to heal in that process. In terms of what is guiding your heart at this time, you have the Judgment card. So kind of indicates that you really need to have an honest moment of self-reflection to kind of see exactly what's in store. So we're going to go ahead and clarify this here. So far I'm not really seeing an external aspect of toxicity. So it could be possibly in this Hanged Man process here. There's probably a lot being internalized and processed, so it could be negative thoughts in that. So we'll go ahead and clarify this Knight of Cups. You have the Queen of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. So it does kind of indicate here that, man, this is kind of really reflective, that in terms of what your heart had hoped for when it opened, it seems like it was hoping for true love and a true connection, something that can make you feel connected to others, connected to the world, self-love even, and appreciation of yourself and feeling kind of confidence. And we'll go ahead and clarify the Hanged Man in the area of what experiences shaped your heart. You have the Sun and the Hermit. So it kind of indicates with the Hermit card being alone and knowing what your truth is without the involvement of others. There is that Sun card, and in the Sun card you can see there's a couple of children again. It could kind of indicate that you had a happy childhood, so that's why you were able to have a heart, when it opened, to expect the best things out of it. So we'll see with this Ace of Swords how your heart felt about those experiences. So I'm going to clarify that. You have the Knight of Wands and the King of Swords here. So it kind of indicates, fast action, forward movement, passion, kind of real fire energy. But you also have the King of Swords, which is air element for king, and also the air element for swords. So it does kind of indicate that you had a lot of rushing thoughts and emotion that was about protecting yourself, and possibly even creating like real boundaries for your heart. I'm going to clarify this even further. You have the Wheel of fortune here. So if you were kind of in your mind protecting it, kind of having rushing thoughts about why it is you weren't getting these offers of love that you had hoped for, it could be that this deception, bad influences of the Copperhead here was kind of like you maybe convinced yourself that maybe true love doesn't exist or doesn't exist for you, and that was kind of the deception, self-deception of that. In terms of what your heart decided as a result, kind of decided it was just going to turn its back on love, and just kind of move on, and that was the best way to protect itself. So I'm going to clarify that even further. You have the King of Cups and the Six of Swords again. So here it kind of indicates, with the King of Cups, it's someone who is stable with their emotions, full of love and compassion, and able to, be a rock for others because they're so emotionally stable. But that's on the light side. On the dark side, it's someone who kind of uses emotion to manipulate others. Maybe they use like substances to influence their emotion. Maybe they are, what do they call it? People who are addicted to sweets because they always need a high or something like that. But here it kind of suggests that the decision your heart made was to kind of just move on, and not be in one place too long because of, perhaps afraid to experience the emotion. And in terms of where your heart is currently with this Judgment card, I'll clarify that. This one wanted to come out. So you have the Fool here. And you have the Lover's card. So it seems to suggest that you need to take a moment to reflect on where you've been, what you've done, the decisions you've made in the process, accept them, kind of let them go, and be in this place where you are open to love again, and having your heart open. And this kind of, Queen of Cups energy here, the underside of the deck, where you can have self-love, can help you recover from this kind of tower experience that your heart seems to have had when it opened and didn't get the offers of love it was expecting. So, and this tower is the underside of the clarifying deck. So what I'm going to do is, if you're wondering where the rose quartz was, it was on these kind of ending off cards, where I'm going to be pulling a card to identify some healing that can go along with what's been shown by the cards already. And what I have here is receiving elation, I am born of infinite joy. So yeah, it kind of indicates, kind of reinforces this idea of kind of look at where you are and go back to that joyful, hopeful person that was open to love. And I have another oracle card for inspiration. Let's see what we have here. This says, Celestia and Cat Swirl, do more of what makes your spirit radiate. So here you have this person and their cat. So if what makes your heart radiate, or your spirit radiate, is having a little pet friend, maybe spend some time with your little pet friend. But that's what I have for the Chrysoprase here. And we will see you, I guess, next time when I have the follow-up for your sign. So take care. Now we are moving on to the reading for those who selected Angelite, which helps with honest self-expression and attracting angels. We have this Mockingbird card here, Prophecies and Communication. And I'm going to go ahead and read the corresponding history in the guidebook so we can get into the layers aspect of it. Mockingbirds get their name because they famously use their melodious voices to mimic the sounds of other birds and even the calls of insects and amphibians. Mockingbirds traditionally symbolize innocence, hence the meaning behind the famous Southern novel title, To Kill a Mockingbird is to destroy innocence. When the mockingbird speaks to you, it is asking you to be accepting and open to communications that you may urgently need right now. The Mockingbird card is about prophecies. Prepare for an important message to be delivered to you that will aid you in your quest. The sign may come in the form of birdsong, dreams, or visions. Meditate with an open mind. Be trusting, because a deeper level of understanding is unfolding for you. It may be time to expand your awareness and look at the choices available to you. So, there was the theme there of innocence and a reference to destroying innocence with the reference to the book To Kill a Mockingbird. We will ask the cards here for more details about the story of your heart in terms of what your heart had hoped for when it opened, what experience shaped your heart after it opened, how your heart felt about those experiences, what decisions it made as a result, and what is currently guiding your heart. So I will go ahead and pull 5 cards. You have the Strength card, the 4 of Wands, the Justice card, the 8 of Pentacles, and the 5 of Pentacles. And the bottom of the deck here is the Empress card, which I use as the influencing energy or overall lesson of the spread, which kind of has to do with being connected with nature, being like creative, fertile, basically able to produce the results that you want. And I was just kind of noticing the kind of visual here, if it wasn't so bright, of the Mockingbird and the Empress card. So we'll go ahead and look at these in terms of what your heart had hoped for when it opened. You have this Strength card here. Why is it so bright? Which basically is kind of a courage and a gentleness, a grace, basically willing to accept unknowns and kind of meet it halfway type of thing. That's what I get for this card in this position. Usually it kind of also indicates embracing all aspects of yourself, even aspects that you might not want to show to others. there's light and dark in all of us, and having strength means to kind of embrace all aspects of yourself, and use the ones that will advance you for your best and highest good when you need it. In terms of what experiences shaped your heart after it opened, you have the Four of Wands here, which indicates kind of celebrations, suggests that they're good experiences, experiences where you and others were able to kind of come together, join forces, and pursue your best options. And it kind of indicates a sense of freedom. In terms of what your heart felt as a result of those experiences, you have the Justice card here. So it could indicate it felt a sense of balance, a sense of moral fairness. We'll go ahead and we'll definitely clarify all these, but it kind of indicates not only a sense of being in the right, but also having like a balanced heart and mind in making that decision, and having a sense of fairness in all of that. So next we have what your heart decided as a result, which is this Eight of Pentacles here. Kind of indicates that it decided it would focus on maybe work, career. We'll have to clarify that as well. It might be that you wanted to be able to improve yourself. And in terms of what is guiding your heart now, you have this Five of Pentacles, which kind of suggests, if it's not like finance related, a fear of not having enough. So we'll definitely clarify these. But with the Empress card, it would suggest that you do have enough. And some of these other cards here really are, they're positive cards. So we'll see why it is that it's almost as if your heart is being led by a fear of not being enough, or not having enough for yourself to be in a place where you are free to kind of choose the life that you want. So we'll go ahead and clarify the Strength card. You have the Wheel of Fortune and Knight of Wands. So when your heart opened, it suggests that there was kind of, with this Strength card, a sense of passion and just really seeing where things would go. I'm going to clarify that further, because with the Wheel of Fortune and the Strength card, it kind of suggests ups and downs, but it could be that things were constantly changing with no real result. But you have also this Knight of Pentacles, which, man, this is like really shiny. Okay. With the Knight of Pentacles, it's the slowest moving knight. And then you have like this fast moving knight with the Strength. So it could be that what your heart hoped for is a sense of maybe a balance of in terms of the opportunities for your heart. With the slow moving knight, the fast moving knight, those are both kind of like, one is like an offer of romance, passion, might kind of fly in and out. Knight of Pentacles, they're a little bit more long-term focused. So It really could be that you were preparing yourself for both, you know, kind of those romances that come and go and long-term relationships. It could be that that's what led to these kind of Four of Wands in terms of what shaped your experiences, is having the freedom to explore those options, which is it is a good freedom to have in terms of experiencing life. So I'll go ahead and clarify that. You have the Empress card again, and you have the Seven of Wands. So it suggests that you had a lot of freedom, opportunity to create and nurture whatever it is that you wanted. And in terms of the Seven of Wands, that I'm kind of sensing as you were a very confident individual, confident in that you could create whatever future you wanted. I'm going to go ahead and further clarify. And you also have this Fool card. So you had this freedom to experience life and kind of be a free spirit from it. So that sounds great. In terms of the Justice card being how you felt about those experiences, it could be based on here. What I've seen so far is that you felt like there was balance, like you got what you deserved in terms of love. So I'm going to further clarify this. Okay, you've got Queen of Pentacles and Six of Cups. So Queen of Pentacles is someone who is really basically confident. Why is it so shiny? Confident and in touch with nature, community, the real world, is able to manage resources well, business minded. And then with the Six of Cups, you have basically the ability to kind of reflect back on your choices and have happy memories of that. So it seems like you felt that you had a very, I want to say blessed, kind of a blessed life. You had everything you needed, and you felt good about what was being brought to you. In terms of the decision you made with this Eight of Pentacles, I'm kind of thinking it's more career oriented, because really when it comes to your heart, you had a lot of positive experiences where you didn't have to worry about love. You kind of could focus on what you wanted to do for yourself, how you wanted to express yourself, how you wanted to create value for yourself. So I'll go ahead and clarify that. You have the Emperor and Two of Wands. So yeah, it kind of indicates that you had this ability to create whatever you wanted, to be the master of your own universe and choose a path that you wanted to do. You had all of this kind of success with your heart in the past, and so you wanted to kind of pursue something where you were outside of your comfort zone and wanted to explore more. So I'm going to further clarify. You have the Hierophant here. So it could be that when you were doing this exploration, you were exploring more traditional aspects of work, more traditional aspects of creating value, which is interesting because there is the Mockingbird card of innocence, prophecies, communication, and the Empress, which is more about connecting to connecting to nature and spiritual aspects, and with the Eight of Pentacles and the clarifiers, it kind of suggests that you decided to be a little bit more formal. I'm not sure if I want to use the word rigid, but a little bit more formal in your pursuits. So what is currently guiding your heart? You've got this Five of Pentacles. I'll go ahead and clarify that. You have the World card here. Oh, good. World card. And you have the Knight of Swords. So here it kind of indicates you really can have whatever you want. You just have to pursue your truth. And so I'm going to further clarify, because with the Five of Pentacles, in terms of what's guiding your heart, the World and the Knight of Swords doesn't really fit, but you have this Two of Pentacles here. So it could be that you are someone that is helping others, that you've really had such a blessed kind of experience that you are helping people, like people in charitable situations. You work for nonprofits. And that could be what is guiding your heart. And with the Two of Pentacles, that you are doing a lot. You're balancing responsibility, you're balancing fun, you're able to be a lot of things. And it seems that, kind of good result. So we have here at the bottom deck the Devil card, which is kind of interesting because you have the Empress. The Devil card is about having, what's it called? Feeling that you're kind of bound to something. It has kind of a sense of attachment, negative patterns. What is kind of that sparked for me is you have this kind of structured thing here with you're kind of decided to be a little bit more formal when it comes to working. And then you have this area here where you, and actually I'm wondering now if it is that you are kind of traveling. You decided you wanted to break free of that travel or break free of the routine, and you're doing something different. You're exploring the world. You are pursuing it, and what's guiding you is maybe it is a little bit of a fear of not being so tied down to a sense of formal work. Maybe you had more of a, like an accounting job, bookkeeper, something that was a little straight edge, and now you decided to explore and get out really outside of your comfort zone and pursue your own truth. And you're finding that the financial security is really not where it was, and you're kind of thinking about, well, where's that going to bring you next? But with this Mockingbird kind of card, kind of indicates just be in touch with your surroundings, which it seems that historically you have been, and that you will be able to get the kind of messages and guidance that you need. So hopefully that provided helpful perspective. Sorry about that. Had some technical difficulties and had to rearrange the lighting here, but I also needed to do more oracle readings. So if you were wondering where the rose quartz was, which is a stone for universal love, it was over here to the side. Basically with the oracle cards I was going to do when we ended. So here I'm going to pull an oracle card to kind of assist with whatever healing journey that you're on. or if you want to start one. But we have for you acknowledging apprehension. When it's a yes, nothing can stop me. When I'm unsure, it's always a no. So this kind of indicates here that you've got a very strong conviction about what it is that you want. And this acknowledging apprehension aspect could be that you need to see what it is that are your potential possibilities, with that Five of Pentacles being what was kind of guiding your heart. You want to be able to recognize what you are gaining in whatever decision and what it is you are giving up with a decision when it comes to your long term. But it seems that you pretty much are someone who kind of does follow your heart pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and pull an oracle card. For inspiration, you have Daddy Tequila's Sundown. You are the beat of your own drum. So, yeah, kind of indicated that with the spread. So that's what I have for you. Hopefully it provided helpful perspective, and we will see you next time when you check out the follow-up love reading for your sign, which we'll post once those go up. So thanks so much and take care. So now we are going to do the reading for those who selected Sandstone, and the corresponding card of Wild Violet, Self-Actualization, Individuality. I'm going to go ahead and read the guidebook for the cards so we can get into those potential deeper layers. The color purple in traditional folklore stands for royalty, power, enlightenment, and awareness. In Alice Walker's book of the same name, it represents freedom. In hoodoo conjure practice, the dried leaves of the wild violet are used in spells to offer protection from evil spirits and to grant wishes. The wild violet is a free spirit, redolent with power and beauty. When the wild violet appears on your path, it invites you to be yourself. Its exuberant petals signify confidence, reminding you to believe in your own story. You have the determination to listen to your own inner voice and ignore the outside influences who lack the understanding that comes only from deep self-awareness. Greet this purple flower as a sign of encouragement that you are indeed headed in the right direction, and your true self is ready to bloom and glow with proud wildflower energy. So it seems that the Sandstone here, which is for activating leadership and forward movement, kind of really fits with this wild violet. So now we're going to go ahead and ask for more details about your heart story, in terms of what it hoped for when it opened, what experience shaped your heart after it opened, how your heart felt about those experiences, what your heart decided as a result, and what currently guides your heart. So go ahead and pull 5 cards. You have the 9 of Swords, the 8 of Pentacles, the Tower, the 9 of Pentacles, and the 6 of Wands. The underside of the deck here is the 10 of Cups. Seems like the color is a little bit off with the reflection. You have the 10 of Cups, which I use as the influencing energy or the overall lesson of the reading. With the 10 of Cups, it kind of indicates kind of everything that you wanted, fortune after difficulty. What's interesting about the 10 of Cups is that this card is kind of on a stage. There are like 13 stage cards in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and with this being on a stage can call into question whether the people there are truly happy or they are kind of living a life that they think would make them happy. So I'm surprised to kind of see these cards show up based on the Wild Violet kind of self-actualization. It could be though that those were just words of encouragement to be that reminding you that you do have the power and the ability to have what you want, to have that happiness. So we'll go through what we see so far. With what your heart hoped for when it opened, you have this 9 of Swords, which kind of is about fear and anxiety and just ruminating over thoughts that aren't really helpful, that you can't really do anything about. And maybe when something happened where you really weren't in a place where you could open yourself to love, the experiences that shaped your heart after you opened it, kind of, you have this 8 of Pentacles. Maybe it really had you focus on a sense of focusing your attention on work, or maybe changes to yourself. With how your heart felt as a result of those experiences, you have the Tower here. So it could have been some kind of shock to the system. Perhaps there was some aspect of your ego that was revealed and it kind of brought you back to reality. With the decision that your heart made, you have this 9 of Pentacles. With the 9 of Pentacles, it kind of indicates being independent, focusing on the wealth that surrounds you. The only cups that I really see here is the kind of influencing energy or the overall lesson, but otherwise it's about thoughts, it's about material aspects, and it is about the people that kind of surround you, where your heart, or what's currently guiding your heart. With the 6 of Wands, it could mean victory, but what I'm kind of picking up for it right now is that it's more a sense of performance based on the people around you. So it could be that you're really going for what others would approve of you, or how you can get others to celebrate you. So I'm looking at the Wild Violet card, and on the bottom, one of the words there is self-actualization and individuality. So perhaps it has to do with right here, this card right here, not really being about individuality, but more about needing approval from others. But we'll clarify. So we'll start with the the Nine of Wands. You have the Page of Swords and the Five of Swords. So what your heart hoped for, you had the Nine of Swords, and with the Page of Swords, it's kind of someone that is curious and wants to know the truth, wants to know everything kind of right at once. And with the Five of Swords, it's really wanting to win at all costs. And it's almost like a self-defeating. It's not really a win. So it indicates that when your heart opened, perhaps you were too stressed about knowing what love was, knowing that everything was going to be perfect, knowing that you would, have everything that you wanted, but really it was the thought process going on and not really the opening of the heart process. So in terms of what experiences shaped your heart and the Eight of Pentacles, I'll go ahead and clarify that. So you have the Magician here and the Queen of Cups. So with the Magician, it's basically having the confidence and ability to manifest into reality what it is that you want, having the resources available to you, having the skills available to you. And with the Queen of Cups, you have a kind of energy that is nurturing, connected, emotional, possibly even overly emotional, since queens are associated with the element of water, and with cups being the element of water, with the Queen of Cups, it's water of waters. So this kind of person, if it's a person, is really super involved with emotion. The Magician is kind of about co-creating with spirit and being confident, able to communicate their wants and needs, not only to themselves but to others, and make things happen. I'm going to clarify this further. You have this Ace of Wands here. So it could be that because when you opened your heart, you were really more fixated on what you thought should be the case, that you kind of went over and felt that you could really, in working and creating something, like you created the love that you didn't get when you open your heart. Perhaps you created that through your own work, your own sense of drive, basically focusing on yourself. So in terms of what your heart decided, felt, what your heart felt as a result of the experience after it opened its heart, you have this Tower here. So kind of wondering if, in terms of what your heart felt, is that you kind of had this idea that you would transfer everything related to the heart to work or what you can create, and that really wasn't, fulfilling. But we'll go ahead and clarify the Tower. You have a Seven of Swords and Two of Swords. So with the Seven of Swords, it's kind of like a thief in the night, really kind of stealing from yourself and the Two of Swords is kind of being at a stalemate. So in kind of projecting the love you're hoping to get from others, or like kind of sharing it with other people, and focusing on yourself, the feeling you got from it was that you really didn't gain anything, that you're really just like fooling yourself in the process. And in terms of what you decided to kind of continue the working on yourself and surround yourself with a sense of security, material things, because that's where you, with this Queen of Cups, the Queen of Cups here, that clarified the Eight of Pentacles. It's kind of like it's almost like you put your heart into your work, into material things. And even though you felt like the blow of it, like it did affect your ego, you stuck with it. So let me see here. I'll go ahead and clarify it. You have the Two of Wands, and you have Temperance. So with the Two of Wands, it seems that you had a choice to make, you had a decision to make, and you might have chose the path that was easiest for you, like in terms of being able to have a sense of balance and a sense of peace. It was what you knew that would give you kind of some security and some satisfaction. So I'm going to go ahead and clarify that further. You have the High Priestess. So here it seems like you are in your element, at least, with feeling this sense of independence. That could be where, this sense of self-actualization and your power kind of comes from. It comes from building yourself up, which is a good thing. But in terms of what currently guides your heart is this kind of concept of others around you. So you are almost like you're detached from that process, almost that it's just for show. I'm going to go ahead and clarify that. You have the Sun, and you have the Justice card. So the Sun is one of the best cards in the deck, and with the Justice card, it's kind of a sense of moral balance, a sense of fairness, equality. It's almost judicial in a way. So it's kind of like shining a light, your heart, what's guiding your heart. It's kind of just whatever is kind of obvious, and perfunctory is the word that's kind of coming up to me. Just really, it could be that there's a marriage, actually, but I'm not necessarily seeing the openness to loving someone else in this process. It really does kind of indicate a focus on self, and what's guiding your heart could just be what's expected. So you have at the bottom of the deck, you have the Ten of Cups, and then the bottom of the clarifying deck, you have the King of Cups. So what I'm seeing here is, in this King of Cups, it's someone that kind of looks kind of not really happy, someone who has had like a hard kind of life. It is supposed to be someone or indicate someone who is emotionally balanced. And where I'm seeing this balance come in is the focus on yourself. So this sandstone and this wild violet really kind of did say kind of you're coming into your own power. In terms of perhaps it was just when you initially opened your heart, there was just a lot of really just inside your head. But this could be that you have grown from there. I guess my concern is in this how your heart felt area where you have the Tower and you have the Seven of Swords and you have the Two of Swords. It's almost as if you're trying to get away with something and trying not to see what you're trying to get away with is a heart without feeling. I know it's almost like I'm being pessimistic about it, but that's kind of what I'm picking up from it. But I will go ahead and pull a couple of oracle cards to end off the reading. If you were wondering where the rose quartz was, it was sitting over here with the other oracle cards. And I'm going to pull one here that has to do with healing. So if there's some kind of healing that you want to take advantage of, you have exploring unity consciousness. I am one eternal light appearing as all. So it kind of suggests that there is a focus on self, and it seems to be doing well for you. So perhaps the King of Cups and the Ten of Cups is I do think it is the lesson. It is kind of try to add more into your heart that is outside of yourself. That's what I would say. And I am going to pull a card of inspiration. You have Patsy and Jelly Root. Give yourself permission to cut loose. There you go. So this is what I have for you. I'm hoping it gave you some helpful perspective. It was kind of a strange reading, I would say. But definitely check out the corresponding love reading for your zodiac sign once it's posted. That I will pin in the link. So take care. So now we are coming up on those who selected Peacock Ore, the stone that is associated with happiness, joy, gratefulness, abundance, and the Conch Shell homecoming afterlife. I'm going to go ahead and read from the guidebook here, see if there are any deep layers to get into. The conch shell, especially in the coastal south, is a powerful symbol of deliverance and the afterlife. Among the Gula Geechee people, the shell is placed on graves and also in homes to symbolize homecoming. Just as the sea brought the African people to the New World, it was believed that the sea would deliver them back home. Shells, therefore, are a symbol for the ancient paths of pilgrimage. Throughout the South, shells were adopted cross-culturally in southern cemeteries to represent the voyage to the afterlife. Scallops, conch, Conches and other shells are symbols of a person's Christian pilgrimage or journey through life and of baptism in the church. If you draw this card, a powerful homecoming awaits you. Take this symbol as a sign that a powerful and important journey is about to present itself to you as an opportunity, and you may soon be reunited with those you love. So, with the Conch Shell being the story of your heart with homecoming and afterlife, I'm not sure if perhaps your heart is telling the story with respect to having lost someone, with respect to homecoming. Perhaps it's related to even like an experience you had with homecoming, like high school, college. I know just last night I had a dream about being with my boyfriend from high school. Where does that come from? I don't know. So we'll go ahead and pull 5 cards to get more details of your heart's story. We have the Fool, 8 of Cups, 4 of Swords, 7 of Pentacles, and the Empress card. The bottom of the deck is the 4 of Wands, and I use the bottom of the deck as the influencing energy or overall lesson of the reading. With the Fool, this is what your heart hoped for when it opened. A sense of freedom, a sense of experiencing everything that life, love had to offer. In terms of the experiences that shaped your heart, it's the walking away aspect, walking away from something that no longer served you. This might be you, or it might be others that walked away from you. In terms of what your heart felt about those experiences, you have the 4 of Swords, which kind of indicates a need to withdraw and recuperate. And what your heart decided as a result, you have the 7 of Pentacles, which kind of indicates not really investing in something and not really getting what you expect when you expect it, and kind of wondering if it was worth it at all. And what currently is guiding your heart, you have the Empress card, which suggests love, beauty, connected with nature, creativity. So it's kind of being a connected person that is full of love, full of potential and possibilities. So, and with the bottom of the deck being the 4 of Wands, the overall lesson or the influencing energy is kind of a sense of celebration and freedom and being connected with those around you. So we'll go ahead and clarify these cards here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and pull a couple cards to clarify the Fool. Okay, you have the Empress and the Chariot. So in terms of what your heart had hoped for when it opened, not only a sense of freedom, but a sense of experiencing the world where it would lead you to basically be in a position of abundance and being connected and basically having the ability to pursue whatever it is that you want, to have the will to advance forward. In terms of the Eight of Cups being the experience that shaped your heart, go ahead and clarify it further. Basically, it seemed like when your heart opened, it was full of potential and hopeful possibilities. You have the Star and Six of Pentacles. So with the Star here, it suggests a sense of healing that was involved here. And the Six of Pentacles is kind of balancing the wants and needs and being in a position of what I'm kind of sensing is needing the attention or needing things from other people, where previously you were kind of open and hopeful and just free. It came to a point where you had a need, and with this walking away aspect, it could be walking away from that sense of hopefulness. But I'm going to go ahead and clarify this further. You have the Two of Wands. So I am kind of sensing that the experience that shaped your heart was recognizing that not everything is has a gold ribbon around it. There are certain life experiences that you opened yourself to that you really didn't get the results you thought you would get, which kind of shows up again here later on, but that the experience that shaped it is almost being disappointed in that potential. In terms of how you felt about those experiences, it's kind of like you withdrew from, the potential of your heart and just decided to heal, let it go, and we'll kind of clarify that further, but a sense of almost isolation. But I'll go ahead and clarify that. You have the Nine of Swords and Five of Cups. So Nine of Swords is kind of just ruminating over unhelpful thoughts that are influenced by fear and anxiety. Five of Cups, it's just a sense of loss and grief. And it seems that the way that your heart felt is it really needed to kind of recover from the loss, grief, anxiety associated with the experience of not really getting exactly what you wanted. In terms of what your heart decided as a result, it's kind of decided, like, really, is anything kind of worth the effort? And I'll go ahead and clarify that. You have the King of Cups, and you have the High Priestess here. So with the King of Cups and the High Priestess, it is basically, if this is an individual, someone who was very compassionate, emotionally connected to others, emotionally grounded, and had a sense of what was kind of moving things forward. I'm going to further clarify that, because I'm wondering if it is kind of like I'm wondering if it is kind of like someone who passed away or was lost. There's this Ace of Cups here. So it could be, what I'm sensing is kind of two things. One is that in terms of what shaped your heart, this kind of walking away from this potential wonderful openness of a heart kind of put you in a situation where you did lose someone, and that's why it caused all this grief and anxiety. And it's kind of like, well, why even bother? But that somehow you tapped into this intuition, kind of like maybe with this afterlife homecoming, maybe you've kind of tapped into the energy of that person who maybe was a role model for you, and even giving you this initial sense that of being open in the first place when your heart opened, and kind of being connected with the energy of that person is starting to make you, even though you're kind of questioning, is anything worth it, you're getting reassurances from the universe, your intuition, your dreams, whatever it is, that it is worth it, that there is kind of a connection and a sense of love in being connected that you can experience and that you will be able to experience. In terms of what's guiding your heart, it's now really full. There's a lot of potential. So whatever transitioned over here, the other thing I was thinking was perhaps you have met someone who is emotionally stable and grounded and kind of has given you that spark of life or potential, that hope again. So those are the kind of two ways that it's kind of indicating to me. And with the Four of Wands being the influencing energy or the lesson to be learned, it could be that this is someone that you're kind of open to the idea of pursuing love, pursuing marriage, pursuing being, parenthood, things like that with this Empress. But I'm going to go ahead and further clarify. You have the Ten of Swords, and you have the Fool again. So what I'm kind of getting from this is that you have hit that rock bottom already. You've already let your mind take you to the places that are opposite of what your heart initially had hoped for when it opened. And you are now back to that place where you are willing to look at things, that homecoming. It's like you are back to where you started in being that free spirit and wanting to explore and experience life. And here with the underside of the clarifying deck, you have the Eight of Wands. So whatever is happening, it's kind of happening quickly, and there's messages, you're getting messages that are telling you are going in the right direction. So if you were wondering where the rose quartz was, it was hanging off to the side with these other oracle cards that I was going to use for the closing. These cards, if you are on a journey of healing or want to start a journey of healing, these oracle cards here are focused on that. And what I have for you is asking for angelic support. Right here. My angels respond when I am open and authentic about how I feel. So there is that support for you, and I have one more oracle oracle card for inspiration. Because why not? But overall, it seems like you've been through a journey and you are coming out the other side of it in pretty good position. And what I have for you is Kooky Cat. Make a little mischief. So it seems that you are, again, back in that energy of the Fool, being open to experience things, and then being guided by the Empress energy of feeling the feelings of love, being connected to people, being connected to your surroundings, and being able to put in whatever is needed to make your dream life happen. So I'm hoping this gave you some helpful perspective, and make sure to check out the corresponding love reading for your sign when it's posted. Thanks so much and take care. Now we are going to take a look at the reading for those that picked Selenite. And the corresponding card of Crimes of Passion, Jealousy, Dangerous Urges. So I'm going to go ahead and start by reading about this Crimes of Passion card, so we can see if there's kind of deep layers in that needs to be unraveled. So okay, the Crimes of Passion card is inspired by the story of Miss Pearl Bryan. Pearl was a young single woman visiting Kentucky in the 1890s. She was originally from Indiana, and she was seeing a dentistry student named Scott Jackson. She went missing in the winter of 1896. Soon after her disappearance, a woman's headless body was found in Fort Thomas, Kentucky by a farmhand, and it was a grisly sight indeed. According to the coroner, the woman was found decapitated and with multiple wounds. The victim was 5 months pregnant at the time of her death. The pregnancy and unmarried status of the victim suggested a motive in the context and social rules of her time. At first, no one could guess the identity of the victim, as the head was missing from the scene. The body was later identified as the remains of Pearl Bryan because of the tag in her custom-made shoes from Indiana. Her head was never found. Jackson, along with the man believed to be his accomplice, were hanged in Cincinnati, Ohio. In Fort Thomas, it is believed that her ghost still haunts the area. The Crimes of Passion card represents the many victims of senseless domestic violence. If you draw the Crimes of Passion card, maybe one of your own passions is spiraling out of control, making you irrational. Examine the jealous thoughts you may be having, or other dangerous urges. Tap into your own sense of self-worth and be reminded that in order to truly love others, you must first love and respect yourself. Don't lose your head. So that was a little extreme. And for those who pick Selenite to clear the energy and gain wisdom, that is kind of an inspiring card. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and pull some tarot cards here to find out the details of your heart story. So based on that card, it could be that your heart story has to do with pregnancies, unwanted pregnancies, domestic violence, jealousy, things like that. Might not be as extreme as that story there. So, guess I didn't want to go easy on you guys. But the details of this tarot card reading might reveal a little bit of softer situations. So go ahead and pull 5 cards. Have the 3 of Wands, the Hangman, Temperance, 4 of Cups, and 7 of Wands. The underside of the deck, which I take as the influencing energy of the reading or the overall lesson, is the King of Wands. Oh, hi, kitty. King of Wands, which is fiery passion, a sense of kind of on the darker side, arrogance and dominating kind of personality. So we will go ahead and take a look at what we have here. In terms of the hope your heart had when it opened, you have the 3 of Wands, which is kind of a longing for success and one like ready to explore potential for success. In terms of the experiences that shaped your heart, you have the Hanged Man, which is kind of a situation of waiting, not fighting against the binds, and in the process gaining some perspective and some higher knowledge. In terms of how you felt about the experience, you have this Temperance card here, which is a sense of calm, zen, peace, and balance, moderation, perhaps even having some type of angelic guidance, and having a focus on blending experiences from your past with your present to make the future, the bright future ahead, a reality. What your heart decided as a result is 4 of Cups, which is kind of feeling that things aren't as good as they'd hope, and kind of looking at what was instead of what could be, and what is currently guiding your heart. We have the 7 of Wands. This could kind of indicate a feeling of needing to defend yourself, defend your position, and stand your ground. So in terms of kind of domestic violence or feeling that you need to defend your heart, those are still kind of like heavy situations based on the oracle card. So I would say if there is a situation of domestic violence and there needs to be some kind of counseling, then definitely seek out qualified professionals for that. And, when in need, call 911. So yeah, this is definitely really heavy. Not something that I'm used to kind of getting into, but we'll see. In terms of the 3 of Wands, I'll go ahead and clarify. Yeah, Page of Swords and 10 of Wands. So with the Page of Swords, it is kind of seeking maybe truth, needing to find out what truth is. There's also the 10 of Wands, which is a really heavy burden, carrying too much, So in terms of this being what your heart hoped for, perhaps you were curious, you'd had too much of a burden, and you wanted to get out. So in terms of the experiences that shaped your heart, it seems like the experiences where you were maybe left alone, left to time for yourself, left to kind of see things from a different perspective. That's kind of what shaped your heart. I'll clarify. You have the Nine of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords. So basically this idea of being independent and protecting yourself, and having a sense of you can do this on your own. That's kind of the way I see this. Yeah, it's pretty much you were looking for a different kind of lifestyle than this hefty one here, and you were able to see things in a different perspective. You were able to see things weren't so burdensome, and that you could rely on yourself. In terms of how your heart felt with this Temperance card, it felt at peace. It felt that there was a way forward. And I'll go ahead and clarify that further. And the Seven of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles here. So it seems that with this kind of balance, you were able to kind of look at the potential that you had for yourself, and that you wanted to be protected. You wanted to be connected and to be kind of like a healer for yourself. I'm going to go ahead and clarify this further. You have the Judgment card. So in that process, it seems that you took a look at the way things had been and the future that you wanted to create for yourself. And interestingly, I'm thinking with this Four of Cups, with this being what your heart decided as a result of this process, is that not having too much attention actually might be kind of a good thing. Having some kind of peace and quiet, time to meditate, time to kind of be on your own and deal with whatever kind of frustrations you have, is the way that you need to manage yourself. It could be because of this kind of King of Wands energy that you're connected to or had been connected to at some point, that your heart really enjoyed or appreciated the peace. So I'm going to go ahead and clarify that. You have Two of Pentacles, and you have the King of Wands again. So with the Two of Pentacles, it's kind of like balancing like responsibilities with fun, or kind of having multiple things that you're responsible for, multiple balls in the air type of thing. And then you have the King of Wands here. Is that a better view? Perhaps? No. King of Wands here. Which I'm going to further clarify, but it kind of indicates that you had that King of Wands energy at least influencing you, and you needed to balance that. And that, again, with deciding to take things at a slower pace and having your alone time, perhaps meditating, perhaps really having a control over your emotions really was what you had decided. And then we have this Emperor card here, which indicates, again, a sense of rule or authority, but the Emperor also is creating boundaries and setting a plan. So it seems that whatever kind of background was associated with this initial wanting to, you know, succeed in life and kind of leave the comforts of home, if they were comforts in the first place, led to a place where the plan of action was to temper that kind of potential energy and create boundaries and a plan to keep yourself calm. What's guiding your heart now could be this sense of at any moment needing to defend yourself and kind of standing your ground in what you need to do. You have a sense of inner conviction. So I'm going to go ahead and clarify that. Okay, so you have the King of Swords and the Knight of Wands. So what's kind of interesting about this is these are very much masculine energies here that are influencing or clarifying, but what I'm seeing here with this Knight of Wands and the King of Swords and the Seven of Wands is that your heart is being guided by being at a place where you know that a certain type of influencing energy can sweep over you, a certain kind of authority can sweep over you or influence you, and you need to be prepared to kind of to defend against that and stand your ground. So go ahead and clarify that further. You have the Fool card here. So really this seems to be you being prepared to kind of defend against anything that kind of is coming at you. It feels like it's coming at you is a way for you to be free from whatever the influencing energy is of this King of Wands. And then you have the Three of Pentacles is the underlying card here for the clarifying deck, which is kind of collaboration with others. So it could be that there are people who are helping you, or somehow maybe these are siblings or people in your social circle that are aware of where you need to be or want to be in life and are assisting in you in that endeavor. It's really heavy reading, but that seems to be a story of your heart. That's what I'm picking up on. And I'm going to go ahead and pull some oracle cards here to end things off that have to do with healing. So let's see what we have for this group. We have healing heartbreak. My heart will love again. So that's kind of in the process of healing heartbreak. You have to look at the parts that hurt. So this is what could be, you know, the hangman situation with the Nine of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords, clarifying it, where basically this was the experience that shaped your heart, this kind of potential of being an independent person and kind of protecting yourself from whatever it is that seems to have been so much of a burden in the past. And I'll go ahead and clarify with, not clarify, pull another oracle card here for inspiration. And we have, what does this say? Ruby cane. Even the hardest puzzles hold a solution. So this is what I have for you at this time, and I hope it provided some helpful perspective. Be sure to take a look at the links for the the love reading that is connected to this reading. That will be posted later. So